Dana White has Jon Jones exactly where he wants him. This is incredible positioning for Dana White. And let me explain. Dana White, of course, in the lead up to the giant spectacle of Canelo versus Crawford, a boxing fight he's promoting, he has been in the media and doing a bunch of interviews, and everyone's been cycling around the questions on the White House card, which, of course, is going to be a massive, massive, one of a kind, once in a lifetime card that, of course, Jon Jones has expressed extreme interest in returning to. And he's even come out of retirement because of this. He's returned to the testing pool. He wants in. And now Dana White is revealing in all the interviews that he's been doing about this White House event that Jon Jones actually reached out and apologized to him. That Jon Jones is now in a position where he has to come crawling back to the UFC and begging them basically that he wants in on this UFC fight and that he's on standby, he's ready, he's training 5 times a week. And Dana just keeps on repeating the same thing over and over again in all of these different interviews that Jon Jones, he just won't do it. That Dana White won't put Jon Jones on the card because he needs fighters he could rely on. And Jon Jones has not been a reliable business partner. And Jon Jones just must be seeing this. And he's just like probably so down bad that he even went out of his way to apologize to Dana White that he wants in on this card, and Dana White's still not giving in. And, like, this is exactly where Dana White wants to have it and be in a position of power over a guy like this who at a time looked like he was having the position of power over Dana. When the UFC is offering you $30 to $35 million, whatever the price point Jon Jones wanted, and basically trying to really just have to pry Jon Jones to be able to fight Tom Aspinall for all those months, painfully dragging away the time, trying to get Tom Aspinall and Jon Jones to fight. It could have been an MSG this upcoming November. Didn't want to make it. Jon Jones apparently accepted the deal and then backed out and then ended up calling a retirement. And now Jon Jones seems to be, of course, super interested in the White House card to the point where he's going out of his way to apologize to Dana White. Say, hey, look, I messed up, whatever. I'm sorry with how things have went, but I really want in on this White House card. Like, the fact that he came back in so quickly after calling his retirement. This entire situation is just so effed, but whatever. Like, that's just the Jon Jones antics. And Dana White keeps on saying in all the interviews that he's just not going to budge. Now, of course, this could be an amazing move for Dana, right? Because Dana could have us all convinced that he's 100% doubling down on the fact that Jon Jones is not going to be on this White House card. But what if literally it all falls into place? Jon Jones goes to the PI later this year and he is training and he's being vocal about it on social media. He keeps on doing his thing. He just stays laser focused. And Tom Aspinall, let's fast forward, and Tom Aspinall's still the champion. He got through Cyril Gane. Maybe he defends one more time or he just waits until the summer. Then Dana White's like, okay, I'm building this incredible White House card in February. It's a once-in-a-lifetime card. I already have Conor there because Dana White's saying now that Conor's the guy. Conor's going to be the headliner of this White House card. But he sees that Jon Jones is still in the mix. He's still in the rotation. Jon Jones ain't in any real trouble with anything. He could pull a fast one on us. He really could. Like, nobody should be accepting that it's out of the realm of possibility that Dana White makes an announcement that Conor and Jon Jones are both on the same card in the White House. That I could still be, that's the best case scenario. This card's still going to be the most loaded card of all time. I have no doubts about that. The way that Dana White's explaining it, it's going to be on the South Lawn with the White House in view behind in the landscape of the fights. There's going to be 85,000 people in the parks with TVs. The production, this sounds incredible. And fighters are going to be walking out of the Oval Office. This is going to be crazy, this White House. But I'm still, you could always be, anything could happen is what I'm trying to say. As much as Dana White's being so clear in all these interviews, you can't count on Jon Jones. I need fighters I could count on, and Jon Jones just ain't that guy. This, that. If Jon Jones is still around by the time this White House card falls into place, it could very well happen that Dana White just ends up throwing Jon Jones on there versus Tom Aspinall, because that would be the only option. So that's just what's going on right now, but a lot to be excited for either way with the UFC. Just 2026, new deal, new streaming, Paramount, and then this White House card, regardless if it has Jon Jones or not. I'm just saying, let's all accept the fact that Jon Jones might be a bonus fight added to this. Right now, he's not even supposed to be part of the card, but Dana White could very well just throw us a fast one, have the entire media thinking one way, and then just pull a complete shocking thing the other way and say, you know what? Here you go. Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler and Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. So that could very well happen down the line. That's in terms of the White House. Still such a long time away, but it will be interesting to see in the coming months as we go into the winter how this card is going to start stacking together. Every single fight is going to be, that's announced even, is just piece by piece to hear like who's going to be lucky enough to be on this card. So, and like I said, Conor McGregor is right now dialed in. He withdrew from his presidency run in Ireland. That means that he's definitely got to be laser focused now on the White House. Dana White's focused on it. That's all going to happen. Now, another conversation just to lightly touch on that, first of all, right, we all watched the Canelo versus Crawford mega fight this past weekend. Huge spectacle in Allegiant Stadium, massive event. I gotta tell you, boxing, I watched Noche first, and then I watched the boxing card, a couple of the fights. Boxing to me is just not it. It's just so boring to me. Nothing hits like UFC and mixed martial arts. UFC is where it's at. This night just proved to me that UFC is so much better than boxing. My opinion, UFC is just so much more exciting. I mean, Diego and Gene Silva gave us an incredible classic, one of the most violent fights of the year that night. And Canelo versus Crawford was cool also, but like Terence Crawford danced on him. He masterclassed him basically. And now the aftermath of that is really what I want to get to. Is Terence Crawford and Ilia Topuria going back and forth all weekend. Terence Crawford was like, yeah, that guy must be drunk. Because Topuria was calling out Crawford like, yo, I want to box you. And then in front of whatever, the 41 million people streaming it on Netflix and the entire Allegiant Stadium, he walks out to Topuria's theme song. Whether Terence Crawford wants to acknowledge it or not, whether it was his song or not, that was Ilia Topuria's theme song. Ilia Topuria is known for that song. He's the biggest, if not the biggest, top 3 biggest stars in the UFC right now. He's doing what he's doing, walking out to that song. So Terence Crawford comes out to that song before he puts out a masterclass versus Canelo. And then after the fight, he's like, yeah, good for him, because a reporter said, yo, this is Topuria's theme song. You came out to this song. Like, what was the deal behind that? So he didn't really acknowledge it. All I'm trying to say is, sure, this would be a cool fight concept in the future, and of course it would be massive for Ilia to do the crossover boxing thing, but Ilia Topuria has to get bigger first. And I honestly agree with Terence Crawford when he said on Ariel Helwani's show that he's not as big as Conor. Topuria's not as big as Conor yet, but he could definitely get there. Topuria right now is literally an identical trajectory like Conor was, getting 2 belts by the age of whatever, undefeated. Like, Topuria is really on his way, but Topuria still needs to focus on the main thing here, and that's being one of the most elite UFC fighters on the planet and doing his thing, taking care of whoever's next, whether it's Arman or Paddy, and then maybe an Islam super fight in the future. First, focus on dominating the UFC circuit, and then maybe you have that mega boxing crossover, though Dana's not too crazy about boxing and UFC crossing over. And I love Ilia Topuria, but I will be honest here. I mean, it's Terence Crawford in boxing is going to just really just piece up Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria might have the power, capabilities, and the boxing technique, and that's what makes him so lethal in the pocket and in striking exchanges in UFC. But also, it's different gloves. You've seen this picture here. Ilia Topuria has UFC gloves on. There's boxing gloves. Like, how will Ilia Topuria's power translate when you're no longer using the glove size that allows your fingers out when you're boxing with Terence Crawford? Like, each guy will destroy the other in their own respective sports. Now, Topuria may be able to connect on Crawford. But yeah, that's just my thoughts really on this Topuria versus Crawford thing. It would be a cool goal in the future to see Topuria do this. It would be, of course, massive publicity for him, being if they did another, again, a massive once in a lifetime kind of branding with the Riyadh season and in a stadium, if Topuria is big enough. But right now, this fight needs to be shelved. Topuria can't be thinking about crossing over to fight. And this isn't going to happen anytime soon. Topuria's got way more to go in UFC. And again, boxing, this past Saturday night just showed me that I ain't into boxing. No matter how big the fight is, this really just, I'm not like a fan of it. UFC is just so much better in my opinion and so much more entertaining and exciting. One of the best shows on earth. So that's that. Another fight that was announced one day ago, Brendan Allen has now replaced Anthony Fluffy Hernandez to take on Reinier de Ridder, who you see here clipping Bo Nickel in 2 fights ago. He just came off the win versus Robert Whittaker. So now it's Brendan Allen in for Anthony Fluffy Hernandez in Vancouver. I mean, this just really sucks. That was an incredible matchmaking fight between Fluffy and Reinier de Ridder, 2 amazing high-level grapplers. And honestly, I think that Fluffy would have beaten Reinier de Ridder in this Vancouver main event. I mean, Fluffy, I really think, is the only guy capable with the tools to really give Khamzat Chimaev a very tough challenge. Not saying he would beat Khamzat again. I've said that multiple times, but he has the wrestling, he has the grappling to be able to give Khamzat Chimaev a tough fight. But yeah, I mean, Brendan Allen to come in, listen, he had a nice win in his last fight but who? Marvin Vettori. Before that, he lost to Fluffy. And before that, also Nasruddin Imavov. He's been losing to a lot of the top highly ranked middleweights, and I just think Reinier de Ridder's going to probably piece him up, knee him through. Reinier de Ridder right now has been going on, goofy Reinier de Ridder, right? Been going on the run that he's been going on. Went through Gerald Mearshart, Kevin Holland, Bo Nickel, Robert Whittaker. Am I missing someone? I mean, he's really stack padding a resume very quickly in this middleweight division. And this was going to be a fight to see who could surpass Nasruddin Imavov for the next title shot. The unofficial tournament. Imavov just beat Baralya, but that was by decision. I'm telling you, Fluffy and Reinier de Ridder would have finished each other, whoever got it, they would be up next, probably. So it really, really sucks that we're missing out on. That was an incredible main event to have for Fight Night. And Fluffy, we hope to see him soon. Fluffy's been just a Fight Night guy. He should honestly be on pay-per-view, but yeah, I'm taking Reinier de Ridder to really just walk through Brendan Allen. Maybe Brendan Allen has enough time right now to put together a fight camp and he's going to give some kind of challenge, but ultimately, I think Reinier de Ridder just gets it, and it's going to be another win for him. But I don't know, I think now Nasruddin Imavov should be the clear number 1 guy. Even if Reinier de Ridder beats Brendan Allen, who's he beating to get a title shot? Brendan Allen? You're going backwards. He just beat Robert Whittaker. So those are my thoughts. They should have been Paulo Costa. Honestly, Paulo Costa wanted to be in on it. Cabaralli even threw up his hand. I don't know why the UFC didn't go with any of those guys. So that was Brendan Allen and Reinier de Ridder being announced. And then finally, the last piece of news for right now, a bunch of fights were added to MSG. Gregory Rodriguez is taking on Roman Kopylov, and then you have Bo Nickel fighting this other guy that I don't have on this slide, and Bangur Sursakayev, Khamzat Chimaev's training partner, who did 2 fights within a week on Dana White's Contender Series, and then finishing the guy on 319. So a lot of hype on him. He's returning to fight Nick Honiko on MSG. Bo Nickel's back on an MSG card, and then RoboCop and Kopylov. A bunch of great fights to help fill out the rest of the card. Obviously, the 3 main ones that we already have are Islam JDM, Zhang Wei Li, and Valentino Shevchenko in the women's super fight, and then Prates versus Leon Edwards. This is a cool fight for Kopylov and Gregory Rodriguez. Both need to bounce back. So, and I picked both of them to win in their last fight, so they both lost. That's going to be an interesting one, honestly. I mean, Roman Kopylov, I thought Roman Kopylov was a lot more legit, and then he lost to Paulo Costa. So, yeah. And Bo Nickel, I'm not really sure who the opponent is, so honestly, I can't speak much on that fight, but Bo Nickel needs to bounce back because he just got, everyone's calling fraud check on with him and Reinier de Ridder. So he needs to bounce back after losing, and then Bangur Sursakayev, up-and-coming prospect. could very well climb quickly if he continues to just be a dominant, Russian Dagestani kind of guy. So yeah, that's the news as of late, and until next time.